Hey, everybody, welcome to week one of our new course together. I'm Chris, and I'll be the instructor for the course. A couple preamble things. Each week, I'll start the course with a video I'd like you to watch before you start the reading, start the week. Just kind of orients you to the week, what we're looking at accomplishing during the week, and provides any information that I'd like to give you before you start your week. So, a couple things. Please check the course news and bulletins frequently. I post a lot of stuff in there. So, for example, I posted an initial file on doing your best on the DQs. Please review that file. It's in the course news and bulletin and then section. And then you'll also see four different files that are labeled week one and then notes on. And each of the readings that I do, what I try to do each week, of course, I'm doing the readings, you're doing the readings. So I highlight stuff. I take my own notes anyway. So I pass my notes on to you in that they may be helpful, hopefully, in terms of you, reading and seeing what someone else highlighted and then taking all that knowledge and transferring it over to the DQs. So that happens every week. So again, please check the course news and bulletins frequently, as that is something that I use every week. And again, each week I'll post a video to start the week as well. So for week one, what we know is there's four different outcomes or learning targets for the week. Become familiar with the resource materials and colleagues. Develop an understanding of the requirements for completing the course. So take a look through the course through our Moodle site. Reflect on your knowledge and current practices as an administrative leader and begin to conceptualize transitions and changes in educational and leadership roles. And certainly this week, a big theme of the readings and the DQs is the idea of context and how important context is. For example, from the unit notes, one little piece I want to read to you. The conclusion is that leadership from within succeeds one context at a time. And a couple articles talk about that idea of manager versus leader. And a manager should be able to do, the same thing anywhere, like a SWOT analysis, whereas a leader understands context and understands that different things work in different scenarios. So that's really going to play into the week as we talk about this idea of context. So the discussion question one reads, as you review the assigned readings for Unit 1, share 3 questions that resonate with your current thinking about educational leadership and or your current professional context, whatever that may be. Briefly describe A, why these 3 questions, and B, why now. So what I wanted to say about DQ1 is don't spend too much time writing the questions out. There are 3 sentences that are the questions. That's great. What I'm really interested in and what I want the discussion to be about is you justifying the questions and explaining your reasoning on why you think these are important questions to ask. This is the main focus of the DQ. So don't get caught up too much in just asking questions and hitting post. Ask the questions, but then really dig in and say, okay, these are why I think these questions are important. They're based on my own context. Here it is. And so again, try to spend the majority of your time in DQ1 justifying and explaining why you feel the questions are important. DQ2 says, based on your readings of this unit's articles and the readings assigned from the course text, the preface, identify 1 or 2 concepts you think contributed most to your ongoing understanding of changing roles for educational leaders and why. So again, I want to bring it back to that idea of context. For example, the article from Smulian, Green, Lundstedt, and Norris, they say one quote, context matters. 3 schools welcomed teacher input and provided opportunities for teachers to try out leadership roles. Specific school context and the time period of life in that school. So ideas about context there. In the Stein article, high-performing schools are products of good leadership as opposed to effective management. So back to understanding what's going to work in one scenario may not necessarily work in another. Once the right school leaders have been selected, they must be held responsible for creating a system-wide learning environment that fosters and empowers success. And if you want to empower someone, you can't give them a one-size-fits-all approach. To empower and to motivate one to take responsibility means, sharing power and having an internal locus of control becomes really important. And that article talks a lot about being a mission-oriented leader as well. Sahlberg, that article talks about professional responsibility rather than bureaucratic accountability. That is a great way to differentiate between being a manager and being a leader. And finally, in terms of the preface notes from McDowell's book, and it's interesting to read it, written by someone who's a superintendent. I'm in a similar role myself in my day job. He says almost everything in education works. We have to focus our daily actions on what makes a substantial impact. And again, impact being contextual. So just some things to think about, as you think about, okay, what am I going to put in DQ2 in terms of the understanding of the ongoing changing roles for educational leaders. So I look forward to working with you on the DQs this week. Can't wait to read what you write, and you'll see me in there daily making a few notes as well. So have a great week one. Please reach out if you have any questions. All the best, folks.